think the motivation for learning is what shifts, you know, that expression of self-efficacy. You want to offer more than what you were just asked for. You want to showcase yourself, your voice, and I think that's a transition that happens.
You can't preempt everything. You don't want to put everybody in a box and say this is how you must do it. You want to allow people to think freely, to anticipate, to problem solve practically based on the dynamic that's being created within the group session while running the facility. Everybody who studies undergrad to get a qualification wants to go out into the place of work and add value.
The Engineers Without Borders Design Challenge offers them an opportunity to see how their engineering skills could be put to use in their own communities, even though the design challenge itself is located in communities all around the world.
Integration is possible in any space, but it is a process and it requires reflection and refinement.
In the spirit of the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child, we can impact and influence the student in becoming an engineer. The development of the student should be a collaborative effort where communities, industry, and government work with academia towards producing holistically relevant and capable engineers.
Engineers Without Borders goes into a community and finds a series of issues that this community faces and brings it in the form of a design challenge to university students where they're able to design a solution for some of these issues in a relatively fail-safe environment while looking at a real-world issue. The design challenge really challenges engineering and how engineering education is done. It provides students with a way to challenge their thinking. It provides a multidisciplinary way to think about designing for humans, to justify the decisions that they've made, to work together as a team, to understand how to best communicate their ideas, and to justify many of the solutions that they are providing.
So the premise of the Engineers Without Borders Design Challenge is that it's about engineering for people. And so it's not just about understanding the technical content that underpins engineering knowledge, but also that it's applying that knowledge and understanding in service to communities.
EcoSol is a forward-impact NGO focused on implementing the UN's Sustainable Development Goals in vulnerable coastal communities in northern Peru by designing and developing sustainable solutions. We believe that people and nature not only can, but must thrive in unison if we stand any chance for mankind to progress on this planet.
The feedback that I got is that, for example, colonization, they never thought about what colonization really means because the perception is that engineering has nothing to do with colonization. It's not politics, it's engineering, hard science, 1 + 1 = 2. But then they realized the guns used in conflict were designed by engineers. So you have a bit of a responsibility. And that interest and that conversations energize them to pick a specific topic of the design challenge.
What I find particularly useful about Engineers Without Borders Design Challenge is that it's communication rich, in that students have to produce videos, they need to produce PowerPoint presentations and the like. And so for a communication module like mine, it's very useful because it links the communication practices to the students' actual design work. Once you see the materials, you'll see that you can use those materials in any number of different ways. So you can focus on particular sectors. So if you're teaching in water or control systems or whatever the case may be, you can focus it within that particular content if you want, while at the same time also developing skills around teamwork and communication and so on.
The competition wraps up with our grand finals. This is a very exciting process where we take the top team from each university after our international reviewing round, and the top team from each university then go into the grand finals and are interviewed by a panel of judges. They're asked to justify their designs. We talk a little bit about the economic viability of their designs and how it is suited to the community that they've decided to design for.
To use Engineering Without Borders Design Challenge, I think is a must. And I think it is so easy to take part in it. The management of Engineering Without Borders are really helpful. There's no obstacle, and you just need the attitude to really want to make a difference in students' lives, and then you can do it with success.
We love collaborating with academics to find the most effective way to implement the design challenge in their courses. And it can be anything from a very technical course. We do the design challenge in a first-year chemical engineering course, all the way to more design-orientated or communication-orientated modules. But we do like to implement in first or second year. We find that is the most pivotal moment where we can start to influence our future engineers' mindset to become globally responsible engineers.
The simulated work environment is an idea that comes from General Motors South Africa, and from that is where this idea came from, that we actually have our own facility to train students on the practical aspects of industrial engineering. When a student works on the line here, you start him out by being an operator. Yes, he's studying to be an engineer, but you're actually putting him in the shoes of the person that he's going to be talking to one day to say that what he's doing isn't right. What he's doing needs to change. You need to explain why it is important to change as part of this whole continuous improvement dynamic. In the years that I've run these facilitations, there's always this dynamic component. The bigger picture remains the same as to what it is that you want to achieve, but there's so much room for interpretation, for learning, for interaction, for different aspects to actually take place that you can't always prepare for.
They're more intrigued and fascinated and curious when they see a lab like this, because it's something that they've never seen before. And them being engineers, so that curiosity part comes first before they actually get intimidated by something like this. So it's actually good for them, because what they learn here, it's something that is going to be valuable to them going forward in the future and in their work environments when they actually go into the industry and work.
So you arrive in the workplace and you're a bit inept, and you simply don't know what people are talking about when they talk about the soft skills and the hard skills. So there was a need to connect the workplace a lot better with the academic space. So for the student, they see a document that breaks up this idea of building a new 8-sleeper guest house into consider the water, consider the geotechnical, consider the structural, consider the transportation, so on and so forth. We try to not be too prescriptive there, but to change it up every year in terms of the project idea and possibly the assignment requirements. It is an amazing opportunity for anyone or for a collective of people. But I think you start achieving things that used to seem impossible. So if you have that space, if you participate in that space, I think things happen that maybe didn't quite happen as easily before. And I think they start having fun. So it's validation, if you will. It's definitely bringing them closer to the workplace.
So for MISA, the Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent, it's an entity within the government, and they saw a need for internship vocational work that they required for their program.
The objective of the program was to try and assist government with the resourcing that we had available to us at the time, and to try solve a myriad of problems.
Ultimately, the aim would be to ensure that the students do make a difference in the lives of South Africans. Having municipalities operate more efficiently and effectively does have a large-scale impact on communities within the country.
Universities are quite an important part of this puzzle. The program as a whole is not possible without them. We therefore provide all of the data, we provide the professionals, we provide the problems, but we need the university to be engaged to identify students for us and also give us feedback in terms of the scoping of the projects. So we typically try to do projects that are data intensive and that leverage off the skills that students already have. We scope the work in a manner that is aligned with the EXA outcomes, So we basically treat the student as they would when they graduate, and they're expected to move in terms of their levels of responsibility from exposure to performing. We obviously provide a supportive environment in the form of a professional engineer who is there to carefully explain what the student needs to do, how they should be doing it, and the type of outputs that we expect. We try to place them in an environment where they have the potential to develop. We obviously can't script everything, so we expect a level of independent working, a level of curiosity and inquisitiveness, and ability to work in teams. So some of the challenges that they're expected to overcome is how to deal with incomplete data, when to know when you're out of your depth and you should be asking for inputs from someone else, conducting yourself ethically, because in the real world you'll never have all of the data, all the information, and even all of the knowledge you need to solve a problem. It's an opportunity to be exposed to meaningful work at a scale that you typically wouldn't get, and a potential for impact that one might not get while working in university.
That engagement with government has been also instrumental in them understanding that there are career opportunities within government as well, and that the government is doing quite a bit of initiatives in order to ensure that municipalities do operate effectively and efficiently.
I think the biggest success that I've seen is just greater student interest in the module, greater student interest in the assignments being generated, and also because it is a challenge, it's not an easy task. They really do have to rely on one another within the group to fulfill the brief and develop a good solution.
They always tell you you will be a designer of this and that, or spacecraft or a sports car or whatever, but they never told us, when I was recruited as an engineer, that you're going to work in groups, that you will have conflict in groups that you have to solve. You need to work in groups, and you need to motivate people, and you need to make sure that everyone is aligned towards the end goal.
You have a lot of freedom. You can do a lot. You can do anything with it. I mean, you can be a very unlikable influence, or you can really be an agent of change. And I think that's what integration is about. I mean, you enabling change. You are an agent of change. So I feel like an engineer, and I'm giving voice to other engineers, giving voice to their growth. And that's fantastic.
The journey of the student through an integrated curriculum not only empowers them to be more successful at university, but transforms them into engineers with the graduate attributes for a responsible and adaptable workforce of the future. Asking ourselves what this takes from us and from our programs is an ongoing process of bringing life to our engineering curricula.